What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, inflation, the fourth stimulus package, and the fourth stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says, quote, some pain may be required to slow inflation regarding raising interest rates and, inflation, which is going crazy right now, at or around 40-year highs, around 8.3 to 8.5%. In some cases, in some benchmarks, even higher. And, inflation is on everybody's mind at this point. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said here today that the central bank will continue to raise short-term interest rates, which will likely slow economic activity until there is a clear and convincing evidence that inflation is coming down. Saying, quote, we will go to that point and there won't be any hesitation about that, he said at a Wall Street Journal event. Quote, there could be some pain involved in restoring price stability, but we think we can sustain a strong labor market as the unemployment rate was at a historically low 3.6% in April, near a 50-year low. This was after holding the federal funds interest rates at near 0% at the beginning of the pandemic. The Fed has now started raising interest rates here, which they started in March, raising interest rates to 0.25%. And they have raised interest rates again here in May with a double interest rate hike, the largest move in a single meeting since May of 2000. 22 years ago. Quote, that's short of a prediction or a statement of forward guidance that we're actually going to do this, continue raising rates. The Fed chief said that the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the economic lockdowns in China could further cloud the picture on inflation. This sent the stock markets sharply higher. We may have seen a bottom here for the stock markets. Maybe it's hard to predict the future here, but stock markets have been getting crushed here lately. And as you can see here, the S&P 500 up dramatically here today, and the Dow Jones also as up pretty well today, up 431 points. So pretty good day here in the markets. We've seen a couple up days here in a row. When you look at a 1-year chart, you can see here we're at 32,650. A year ago, we were at 34,000. The high here in January was 36,500. So these are good times to buy if you're a long-term investor. If you don't panic on every little dip of the market, if this is retirement funds for you or you're used to these up and downs, we're at a 1-year low in the market. So these are good times to buy if you can sustain the volatility. If you look at a larger graph here in the market, you can see how much the market has grown here. This is a Dow Jones index graph over the last 30 years. Here's a 5-year graph. You can see here 5 years ago, the Dow Jones was at 21,000. Now it's at 32,000. That's about a 50% growth here just in 5 years. And that includes the massive drop that we had when the country shut down. That includes that drop. Okay. So realistically, you get right now to buy at a 1-year low. So you basically get to buy where we were at over a year ago. But of course, there's no way to tell where we will be in the future. Nobody can tell the future. But historically, when you see large drops like this, they're pretty good times to buy as long as we don't have a nuclear war on our hands in the future. That's a big asterisk there, right? Retail sales, a report actually came out here today in April, for last month, came out today, actually showing that retail sales rose in April by almost 1% just for the month. So, 1% a month would be 12% for the year, which shows that the economy is pretty hot. The economy is pretty hot, which is also adding to inflation. Adding to inflation when you see, hot numbers like this. You could see here on the economics data front, retail sales climbed by 0.9% in April alone, with consumer spending still holding up despite persistently high inflation. Quote, the desire to spend is still strong among US consumers that have excess money to spend, says Harris Financial Group managing partner Jamie Cox. Quote, Americans have broken the shackles of COVID and aren't going back. Numbers like this call into question any forecast of a 2022 recession in the United States. And that's interesting because that's a tale of two stories here as well, as new virus cases in the US are starting to spike up here again. You can see here yesterday's virus cases just about at 150,000 new people testing positive yesterday alone. You can see here yesterday 149,809 people testing positive. And remember now, that's only the people that went to official testing facilities. Remember how many millions of people now have those at-home tests because, well, you can get them free from the government via the government website, right? So think about how many people are really testing positive because they're using the at-home test now. So, yeah, you got to kind of really think about that in perspective that there could really be a lot more. It could be, who knows, right? Who knows? And the thing here is that the graph, the spike here, the exponential curve going up, right? We've seen this in the past, right? I mean, look at this one. That's when we got to the over 1 million cases per day here, right? In fact, remember one day we had over 1.4 million people in a single day. Yeah, and remember, truly we'll never really know how many people actually test positive on any given day because of the at-home test. Remember, when you take an at-home test, those don't get reported to anybody. It's just you looking at the tests. It's not like it gets reported to anybody. And now that millions and millions of people have them for free from the government websites, well, yeah, those numbers are not really accurate. By the way, you might not know this. This is why you watch my channel for everything you need to know. Every home in the U.S. is eligible to order a third round of free at-home virus tests. A third round of free at-home virus tests. Order yours today at the website is covidtests.gov. Okay? So go to Google and type in, or just go to a browser and type in covidtests.gov. That's the website. It's not .com, it's .gov. A lot of people make that mistake. covidtests.gov. And you can see here, free at-home test. It's completely free. You don't have to put a credit card in or anything. All you have to do is put your name and home address in, and they will send it right to your door. You can put an email address in if you want to receive shipping notification in case it gets lost. And you just literally put your name, address in, and click checkout now, so you can get a third round of these. And remember that those have expiration dates in them on them, and they're free. They're free. So after this video, go ahead, write that down on a piece of paper and do it because they're free. You never know, you might want to give them to your mom, your dad, your grandma, your kids, or just you might need it later on. So remember to do that. And President Biden recently got into a sparring match, kind of, with verbally with owner of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, the richest or second richest person in the world. He kind of fluctuates back and forth with Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla and SpaceX, the guy who's trying to buy Twitter right now. That deal's been a little bit delayed. But here's what Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, had to say here about the president and paying taxes and inflation. Check this out.
True, the White House is in a bit of a feud with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. It all started with this tweet from President Biden, in which he wrote that the wealthiest corporations should, quote, pay their fair share to bring down inflation. That prompted Bezos to weigh in, writing the president is conflating two separate issues and misleading the American people. The White House took issue with that assessment, with a spokesman saying, quote, it doesn't require a huge leap to figure out why Bezos would take issue with the president's comments.
Now, of course, there's a little bit of conflict of interest there because Jeff Bezos and Amazon have gotten a lot of criticism in the past for, well, I'll show you this. This is an old article from 2019 from the Washington Post, but you can see here, this is this is why Amazon and Jeff Bezos gets criticized. Amazon paid no federal taxes on $11.2 billion in profits back in 2018. And they did this for several years. And it's not really their fault per se. It's the way the tax code is written. It's the way the tax code is written. And this is why the Democrats at least want to change in the Build Back Better package. They want to raise taxes on corporations. There's been a multitude of different proposals on the way they want to do it. Kirsten Sinema, Democratic senator from Arizona, doesn't want to raise taxes on corporations. So that has been one of the hurdles there. Joe Manchin has been willing to raise taxes on corporation at least a little bit. There's been a couple different ways to raise corporate taxes on corporations, a couple percentage, or to have a minimum tax on corporations, on companies that maybe say make $500 million or make $1 billion in profit. But this is kind of the issue here. You can see here the amount of taxes they paid. This is from 2009 to 2018. You know, some years they actually paid negative taxes, which means the government actually gives them a refund on billions of dollars in profit, which is absolutely insane. From 2009 to 2018, Amazon paid an effective federal tax rate of 3% on profits totaling $26.5 billion. Yeah. So you could literally be paying a higher tax rate than Amazon. Yeah, if that's not crazy, I mean, this is part of the reason, and this has been going on for years, guys, through Democratic presidents, Republican presidents. I mean, it's just the way the tax code is, and that's the problem here. So, and I mean, remember, the country needs tax money from somewhere to pay for things. And I mean, if you look at Amazon, I mean, Walmart and Amazon are like the two largest employers in the country, I believe. And if they're not paying federal taxes, where are you going to get money to pay for things from? The only other largest source is from the people. And remember, also here, I'll show you this. Here's an article directly from CNBC from 2021. 61% of Americans paid no federal income tax in 2020. Now, what this means here is that some people in the 61% may have paid some federal taxes, but then they got a refund. So effectively, they ended up paying $0 in federal taxes or less. And then remember, stimulus checks, this was underneath Trump, because in 2020, Trump was president. Remember, 2021 information is not finalized yet, so they don't have that information yet because people are still filing 2021 taxes. But remember, stimulus check one, stimulus check two, those are technically tax refunds. A stimulus check is technically a tax refund check. So that actually comes off your federal tax return. Even if you don't file a tax return, it's still considered money back from your taxes, right? So if you paid $1,000 in federal taxes throughout the year, but then you get a $1,200 stimulus check, the government's still negative on the amount of taxes you paid. I know that this is neither here nor there, but the government's still negative on the amount of money that they took in per se. If you're just kind of finding out if the government's positive or negative, the government was negative, or at least They made $0 on 61% of Americans. Okay, in 2020, and 2021 is probably not going to be any better, right? And then when we look at corporations that are making billions and billions of dollars, and they're making no money on them either, it's just crazy. Like, where you wonder why they have a national deficit, right? You wonder why they have a national deficit. But it looks like now, because of things like this, because retail sales and unemployment is so low. Remember, unemployment is at around a 50-year low right now. It was actually at a 50-year low just a month or so ago, and now it's just a tiny little bit higher. It's at 3.6%, set at 3.5%. So since it's so low, a lot of people are back to work. A lot of people are spending right now. This is part of the reason why inflation is so hot. And again, not just here in the US, but around the world. There's a lot of tax dollars coming in right now for states and for the United States as well. And this is part of the reason, or most of the reason, why President Biden says that now there's going to be a $1.5 trillion budget deficit reduction. Because now all of a sudden, because unemployment is low and everybody, or a lot of people, are going back to work, and now there's a lot of money coming in. And again, this is just part of the cycle. I've kind of told you guys this if you've been watching my show for a while. This is part of recessionary cycles, okay? When inflation was really low and the economy shut down, that was not a normal thing. Of course, we haven't had an actual shutdown in our economy ever, but recessions are normal. Just not that type of recession where the economy actually shut down because of a virus. But normal recessions, when we have a recession, inflation gets really, really low, sometimes actually goes negative. And then after the recession, inflation heats up and gets hot. Okay. And that's when sales are high, and that adds to inflation. And in a lot of cases, you see revenues, and in this case, government revenues and state revenues get really high. A lot of this stuff is actually historically normal. Historically normal. It's a little bit different in a lot of cases. It's not always the same, but a lot of times you see very similar things happen. Okay, and this is what we're going through right now. And honestly, if you put 10 different presidents in there right now, we'd have very similar situations. And that's why when you look at all these other countries in the world, they're all dealing with very similar situations. They're all dealing with 30 to 40-year high inflation all around the world. They're all dealing with record high gas prices all around the world. They're all dealing with record high food prices all around the world. It doesn't really matter what type of president they have, with Democrat, Republican, if they even call themselves that, in their countries. They're all dealing with very similar type of situations. But that really doesn't make everybody feel better, but at least it kind of explains it. And I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on with in our country. But as the U.S. government brings in all this extra money from tax revenues, that may and might mean that they have a lot more money to work with, as opposed to deficit reduction means they have, or typically don't have, as much money to work with. Our government prints their own money, so it's a little bit different. But when they have budget surpluses, just like these states, all these states sending out stimulus checks, and stimulus packages and reducing taxes and all these different things. When you have budget surpluses, you have a lot more money to work with, and that's a good thing. So I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country. Make sure to subscribe down below, completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click here to see our massive stimulus check update that we just did. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.